It's 6 o'clock this evening. Hello and welcome. You're watching India Today. I'm Smita Sharma and we continue with our coverage of the Jallikattu agitations in Tamil Nadu. The very latest that after a discussion that followed in the Tamil Nadu Assembly, the Jallikattu bill has been passed. Initially, there was some confusion because the AIADMK Twitter handle claimed that the bill had been passed when the discussions were still on, but now we are told that the bill has finally been legislated. This, remember, after 6 days of protests across the state, especially in Chennai, where protesters took to Marina Beach, but for 5 days, while it was hailed as one of the most non-violent and peaceful protests, today, everything changed within hours as there was much violence that played out just a kilometer away from Marina, with one police station being torched by protesters. There were violent images that came out of protesters indulging in stone pelting at police forces, who resorted with lathi charge, pepper spray, as well as, in fact, tear gas shelling and water cannons. Meanwhile, protesters still continue to be at Marina, but fewer in numbers. They, of course, want to take a look at the now passed bill before they take a final decision. Akshaya Nath has been tracking all developments in Marina. Akshaya, do we know now what is this? You mentioned that there was a senior judge who had possibly come into Marina. Has the situation been explained to the crowds, and the fact that even if a legislation is passed in the assembly, it's not cast in stone really?
Well, Smita, right now the learned judges and a few lawyers had joined here, and most of them have come here and they're trying to make these people understand what exactly the ordinance contained. And, even though the people know that it's not written in stone, what they wanted is a permanent solution. But if a law is into place, I think that would satisfy these people from going further and protesting right now, Smita. And it is seen that the crowd is still in an intense state. More and more police officials are coming here, and it is seen that all of them are ready in their police uniform and with their lathis in their hand. They're trying to speak to the crowd that is assembled here. The learned judge who's come here, he's also addressing the audience about what exactly is going on, and also informed that the bill is passed. And now the police as well as the others are requesting them to move out. In fact, all the stars who have come here, including RJ Balaji, has been requesting them time and again, saying the protest is over, please move back. But it is seen that the protesters are still staying here. They're waiting for the 5 or 10 member crew that had earlier gone from here, the student leaders who were here earlier, who had gone to discuss the ordinance. They're waiting for them to come back and give a word, and only after that they will be moving out of this place, Smita. Right now we're getting visuals of these people standing here and gathering here and waiting to know what exactly has happened. And the police officials are also intensifying the stand here. They're also getting geared up to ensure that there's no untoward incident again, like what we were being seeing in the rest of the part of the city, Smita.
But Akshaya, how has the demography of the protesters now changed? If you could tell us briefly, do you still see men and women standing there in equal numbers?
Yes, Smita, in the morning we were seeing that most of the women were getting dragged out. That's what was the scene initially at around 7:30. And most of them who had entered the beach, the shore side, are students from different colleges. Most of them are from New College and Presidency. And most of them who are sitting here have been telling us that women and children included are inside the group. So there's a 50-40 ratio here, Smita, and a 10% children also sitting here. And from morning 7:30 onwards, they have been sitting there without any medicines, water or food. That needs to be highlighted right now, because the rest of the days we've been seeing that they were being given regular food and water supplies. But today, even though the heat has been really bad, they have been put in place. They're saying that they won't move out unless and until a permanent solution will be brought. And now the discussions are still going on. The convincing procedures are still going on. The police are trying to bring back peace. They're trying to convince the people that they're not here to hurt them, but to make them understand and move out of here in a very peaceful manner, Smita.
But this is the very latest on the row. The Jallikattu bill was passed in the Tamil Nadu Assembly a short while ago. Unanimously, all those in favour with, of course, a thumping majority. The new law is now called the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Tamil Nadu Amendments 2017 Act.
Yeah, I think the information is perhaps not being communicated to them as to what exactly is going on, because they are on ground and there are issues with the connectivity. Phone signals are down because when huge crowds congregate, there is a connectivity issue. I presume that they have not been informed that the law has now been passed.
Do you think that the government today, the police administration that resorted to lathi charge to evacuate the crowds, they could have waited, since anyways the assembly was expected to meet this evening?
I really wish I could comment on that, because from the morning there are very, very conflicting reports of each person justifying their own act. But at the for the past 6 or 7 days, the police has been of utmost support to all the protesters, especially the youngsters. There has been no untoward incident. No woman has complained of any molestation or any issue. The police have been working along with the youngsters. They have their entire weight was behind the youngsters to get this protest done really well. So I don't understand how this changed over the past 12 hours. I'm really confounded.
So you wouldn't hazard a guess as to who would be behind these acts? The kind of visuals that we saw of even a police station being torched, a stone pelting happening between crowds. What really went wrong?
Clearly, this is not an act of the students who have been protesting in a very dignified manner for the past 1 week. The students are not at all involved with this, and that a lot of people who have responding to me on social media on my account have also been saying that some other fringe elements are taking this over. But I am in no position to hazard any guess or speculate on who this could be. I have no idea. My guess is as good as yours.
So Chinmay, what do you think the government's next act should be now at this point in time when emotions still run so high?
I am absolutely sure. I mean, see, unfortunately, I don't have the experience that a seasoned politician might have. I'm sure they would have seen, similar scenes in their entire long political careers. I leave it to their wisdom, and I really hope they can get this in control soon.
But for the detractors, the opponents of Jallikattu, they will still continue with their arguments. We just saw, in fact, recently when in Pudukkottai, where the Jallikattu was being held just yesterday, there were reports of 2 deaths, 28 injured. So
right.
What would your message be to these people who would continue to oppose Jallikattu on these grounds?
See, they have the absolute democratic right to, oppose anything. This is the greatest gift that our constitution of this country has given us. This is a democratic country. Anybody can oppose or support anything in this country. However, I think going forward, what the Jallikattu Peravai, which is being headed by this gentleman called Mr. Rajshekhar, who's been fighting for this for the past 10 years.
Right.
He's been asking for safe, proper organization of the Jallikattu, and this is what he's been trying to put as his part of the argument. They are trying to organize this properly so that there are no casualties, especially for the humans, and no injuries, no cruelty to the bulls.
இளைஞர்களுக்கும் நாங்கள் நன்றி கடன் பட்டிருக்கிறோம் என்பதை தெரிவித்து நன்றி விடைபெறுகிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம். எல்லாத்துக்கும் கோரிக்கையும் முடிஞ்சிருக்கு.
அமெண்ட் பிசிஏ அப்படிங்கிறத நம்மளுடைய போராட்டமா இருந்ததுங்க. இப்ப அமெண்ட்மெண்ட் ஆயிருச்சு. இனிமேல் போராட்டம் பண்ணக்கூடியவர்கள் தயவு கூர்ந்து போராட்டத்தை நிறுத்திவிட்டு, இது முழுக்க மாணவர்களுடைய வெற்றி, போராட்டக்காரருடைய வெற்றி. இந்த வெற்றி அவங்களோட வெற்றி தான். நாங்க எத்தனை வருஷமா போராடினோம். இது முழுக்க அவங்களுடைய வெற்றி. அவங்களுக்கு சமர்ப்பிக்கிறோம். இந்த போராட்டத்தை நிறுத்திக் கொண்டு இனி அமைதியான சூழ்நிலை திரும்ப வேண்டும் என்று கைகூப்பி கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறோம்.
These are fresh comments coming in from outside of the Tamil Nadu Assembly, where lawmakers were addressing the press after having passed the Jallikattu bill. Akshaya Nath continues to be with us. We'll go over to her and get in a sense of what the lawmakers were saying. So the Tamil Nadu Assembly has passed the Jallikattu bill, and now that the centuries-old bull taming sport is legal, let's take a look at how a people's movement, which started at the world's second largest beach, pushed governments both at the centre and the state to restore what they call the Tamil pride.
The bullfight
fight over Jallikattu took a violent turn on Monday morning as the police started forcing protesters who had gathered at Chennai's Marina Beach to evict the seashore. The police was forced to resort to tear gas shells and batons to disperse crowds as they retaliated with petrol bombs and stones. One police vehicle was also set ablaze outside a police station. As the drama unfolds, let's take a look at the big developments on the Jallikattu standoff. On the 16th of January, the police fortified Jallikattu in Madurai, a town famous for its Jallikattu or bull taming festival, preempting a violation of the Supreme Court imposed ban. All business establishments were shut down, bus services to the village were cancelled, and checkposts were set up on all 5 routes leading to the village to prevent people from gathering there for the bullfight. The police also cracked down on youngsters who were trying to release a bull on an arterial road. Nearly 50 people were arrested for attempting to release a bull and more than 20 were injured in a lathi charge. The incident sparked an angry response from locals who accused the police of using unnecessary force. College students and young professionals started circulating messages on Facebook, Twitter and WhatsApp asking people to gather at Chennai's Marina Beach to protest against the police crackdown in Madurai. They also demanded a ban on PETA, a global animal rights organization that had been actively campaigning against Jallikattu. By afternoon, a few hundred people had gathered at the beach. Opposition party leader M.K. Stalin also visited the beach and extended support to the protest. By Wednesday morning, the crowds had swelled up to more than 5,000 at Marina Beach and people continued to pour in to protest against the 2014 ban on the bull taming festival imposed by the Supreme Court. The protesters then started demanding an audience with the Chief Minister. Even though O. Pannirselvam did not visit the beach, he promised to approach the Prime Minister to pass an emergency ordinance to allow the sport. The Madras High Court meanwhile refused to intervene, saying the matter was sub judice before the apex court. The protest had by now spread to other parts of Tamil Nadu as well. On Thursday morning, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister O. Pannirselvam flew to Delhi to meet Prime Minister Modi, seeking his intervention in the Jallikattu standoff. In a meeting that lasted up to an hour, the Chief Minister apprised Modi about protests against the ban on Jallikattu and requested that the centre pass an emergency ordinance. The PM, while appreciating the cultural significance of the festival, said that the matter was sub judice and it would be impertinent for the government to intervene. Back in Chennai, the crowds continued to swell despite repeated requests by the state government to call off the protest. Protests over the ban on Jallikattu further escalated on Friday, with DMK workers staging a rail roko agitation amidst calls for a statewide shutdown. The centre too was forced to act in view of the growing voices against the ban. The Environment, Law and Culture Ministries cleared the ordinance on Jallikattu and sent it to the President for approval. The Supreme Court also agreed to the centre's request to delay its final order on Jallikattu given the unrest on the ground. Top Tamil actors meanwhile joined in the protest. By Saturday morning, the President had given his assent to amend the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act and the Governor of Tamil Nadu had cleared the ordinance. Tamil Nadu's Education Minister also said that the state was exploring legal options to impose a ban on PETA. After a week of relentless protests, Jallikattu was celebrated in various parts of Tamil Nadu on Sunday. But protesters prevented Chief Minister Pannirselvam from inaugurating the iconic Jallikattu bull taming festival in Madurai. demanding a permanent solution to the standoff. Bureau Report, India Today.
So after days of peaceful protests that turned violent today, will the Jallikattu fire be doused following the Tamil Nadu Assembly passing that Jallikattu bill is something we will continue to track very closely.